Psalm 3. O Lord, how many are my foes? Many are rising against me. Many are saying of my soul, there is no salvation for him in God. Selah. But you, O Lord, are a shield about me, my glory, and my lifter of my head. I cried aloud to the Lord, and he answered me from his holy hill. Selah. I lay down and slept. I awoke again, for the Lord sustained me. I will not be afraid of many thousands of people who have set themselves against me all around. Arise, O Lord. Save me, O my God. For you strike all my enemies on the cheek. You break the teeth of the wicked. Salvation belongs to the Lord. Your blessings be on your people. Selah. Hello, my friend, and welcome to the Gospel Hour with David. Glory be to God. Jesus Christ is alive, and he's coming soon. Psalm 3. This was a psalm written, I suppose, by David in the time when he was fleeing from his son's Absalom, from his rebellion. We don't think of our own children as being willing to rebel against us yet. That's very common practice throughout all of life. I see in the story of David and Absalom the desire for David to show Absalom mercy. And maybe that's the thing. The only one who can truly show anyone in this world mercy is the father of that son. I think the whole story is about mercy. It's kind of like Adam and Eve and Cain and Abel, and Cain kills Abel. And what was the punishment for Cain? Being separated from God. What was the punishment for Absalom? Being separated from God. And why was Absalom so deserving of punishment? Well, he murdered his brother. His brother engaged in sexual immorality, forcing himself upon his own sister. And natural law, whether it's the law of the land or the government or the kingdom, it's not written laws, but the law within our heart, natural law, says sexual immorality is wrong. And it was wrong thousands of years ago, just the same way it's wrong today. We recognize and we see it, it's wrong. Raping and molesting other people, forcing your will upon another person, all those things are wrong. And we know they're wrong. And there's a consequence to every action we do, whether it's a good or bad consequence, it doesn't matter. Natural law will enforce the law. God, nature. I think that's why I love nature so much, because in nature we can find God. We belong to nature. Because everything happens in nature is happening at God's control. There's nothing guiding it. There's nothing willing it to do anything. It just lives naturally. And we're a part of that. Yet, I think a lot of our problems and struggles today is because we have removed ourselves from it to such a degree. Even Cain, knowing he was a vagabond to walk upon the earth to and fro without a place of rest, created the first cities. Absalom, his punishment was being banished from the city, banished from his father's presence, to walk around and roam around like a vagabond, but with no place to rest. Is that punishment enough? Do we need more? God said to Cain, nobody's going to kill you. Nobody's going to seek revenge for what you've done. Because I'm going to place a mark upon your head. And everyone who sees that mark upon your head will not touch nor harm you. And if anybody does touch or harm you, they kill you, then all the punishment due to you, I will do it to them sevenfold. Sevenfold. David says to Joab, commander of his army, he says to everyone in his presence, whatever you do, don't kill Absalom. Absalom had rose up a rebellion against King David, trying to take over the kingdom. And how he did it, and we see how people who are steeped in the abilities to manipulate other people, how they do it. And how they do it is just like this. Just like Absalom did. Tell me your problems. And as the people began telling him their problems, he says, well, my problems are far greater than yours. And the king, who is my father, won't even listen nor acknowledge my problems. How much greater will he ignore your problems? As you all see, he is doing now. Turning the people against the king. And all of them, none willing to admit the problems they had were created by the works of their own hands. It's easy when we have somebody to blame for our problems. Never recognizing or seeing that God's mercy for Cain is shown and seen through his willingness to allow him to live. David's mercy for Absalom is seen by his willingness to allow him to live. All the people wanted him punished, thrown in jail, prison at the very least. Felt as though a life for life was more than adequate punishment. Capital punishment. No mercy. Yet it was the desire of David for his own son. He was definitely weeping and grieving over the death of his one son, and he didn't want to lose another. We are not to be playing games of favoritism. of any kind with anyone, because God sees one thing, how much he loved his one and only begotten Son. And that's what he sees, his love for Jesus. What about us? Do we see the will of God in our world today? Is it not the will of God to give us mercy, to show us mercy? I think if mercy dies, compassion will begin to cry out for empathy. And empathy will begin crying out for love. And love will start crying out for mercy. It's amazing. Absalom had a chance to take over the kingdom, yet chose some bad advice from good people. You got the worst dogs in the neighborhood. They're very embarrassing. There's many times in life I don't feel they should have a life. Many times. They're so ignorant. It's one thing I hate is a dog. Sorry for the interruption. Even though I hate dogs, I, for some reason, keep feeding them. Continue showing them mercy when they deserve no mercy at all. So Absalom's out there running around, and his attempt to take over the kingdom began breaking down. It began failing. Absalom would not show his brother mercy, and he most definitely, even though he convinced people that he was going to show them mercy when he became king, by tending to their problems. He showed no mercy to his household or his father's household when he raped all of his concubines in the sight of everyone. Empty promises made through the works of manipulation, flattering us and telling us everything we want to hear, yet providing absolutely nothing of substance. Nothing. Empty promises without mercy is absent of all love. So one of David's greatest fears was that he knew that God would strike the face of all of his enemies. And he didn't want to consider his own son his enemy, his own flesh and blood his enemy. Instead, he loved his enemy in the same way he wished his enemy would love him. When Absalom came into the kingdom, or into Jerusalem, David fled. He fled. I'll do everything and anything I can to avoid violence and conflict, especially with my son, in whom I desire to show mercy to. He knew, putting his faith and trust in God. When your faith is complete in God's hand, when your trust is made full in God's Spirit. As he says, there's nothing to fear. No matter what I try to do, it will be accomplished. My life will continue all the way up until the day God decides to take it. And no one can take his life. No one could take your life. Not the coronavirus, nor the government, or any other person in this world. They can't take your life. Only God has the power and the authority to do that. Only God. Nobody knows the day and the hour God is going to arrive and demand from us our lives. It's funny, they find Absalom with his head stuck in a tree. With his head stuck in a tree. Kind of like Jesus' head. Not so much stuck in the tree, he was stuck to a tree, yet his head was covered in thorns. Maybe sometimes, I guess, we're unwilling to admit that we are a thorn in his crown. A thorn in his crown. Yet he continues bearing us, wearing us, proudly, as though we had no blemish. One command I give you guys, whatever you do, destroy the rebellion, but bring Absalom back alive. They find him. One of the soldiers finds him, says to Joab, the leader and commander of the army, one of David's friends, "Can I kill the guy? Why didn't you kill him? I cannot kill him. David, a king, my lord, said you shall not kill him. What about God, who says about us, don't kill Cain? You shall not kill him. You shall not murder. Even though they may commit murder, they may engage in violence, you shall not commit murder. God sets before us a table with our enemies in their presence. And what's that? The food God so desires to feed each one of us. Mercy. The kind of mercy that's fit for kings. Mercy. Feeding us mercy as we share mercy with our enemies. Joab kills him. And then sends messengers, going to send a messenger back to King David and let him know that the enemy has been killed. The adversary is no more. Tell the king the good news. Right? We're supposed to be preaching the gospel of Jesus Christ, the good news of the kingdom of heaven. The kingdom is near. The kingdom is near. That's the good news. God is with us. And why would God be with us? Because we are His. We belong to Him. Now, one of the guys listening to the story about Joab, sending the messenger, says, I want to go. I want to be the one who delivers the good news. Joab says, son, you don't know what you're talking about. This is not good news. Oh, anytime our king has been delivered from his enemies, surely it must be good news. That's all he could see. That's all. Delivered from his enemy. That's good news. The guy's running. Here's a messenger coming. There's only one, and he's running. Surely, he has good news. And then a second messenger, the actual messenger. And when they come, he shows up. First guy comes. What's the news? I have good news. God has delivered you from your enemy. What about my son Absalom? That I don't know about. Joab and the other guy were talking about something. But I just wanted to assure you that the Lord your God has delivered you from your adversary. And soon the second messenger comes running. Surely he's got good news. And again, I bring you good news. Yeah? What's the good news? The Lord your God has delivered you from out of the hand of your enemy. Great. But what about that young boy Absalom? Is he okay? May all your enemies end up in the same way that their traitor ended up. And David did not receive that in any way, shape, or form as good news. It's good news. Never said, go out and deliver me from the hand of my enemy. Instead, go out and find that boy, my son, named Absalom, and bring him back to me alive. And you failed to do that. How is that good news? How? My desire was to show him mercy. Yet everyone rejected that as being the good news. Isn't that amazing? Everyone rejected that as being good news. But this is the good news of Jesus Christ, our Messiah, the Lord of all, both heaven and earth. That even though the body dies, the spirit will never die. That's the good news. Our King and Father was once dead, yet now is alive. Once was without hope, but now has hope. He was once filled with problems, but now has no problems. He was lost, yet now has been found. Rejoice with me. Wasn't that the will? Wasn't that the desire of David, who was representing the Holy Spirit, who is our God and Savior? The Spirit of truth. Rejoice with me. For my son was dead, yet is now alive. He was missing, but now has been found. That's the good news. And it's for that reason Jesus came into the world, to give life to that which was lost, to heal that which was sick, to give life to that which is dead. Redeemed by God through the acts of His steadfast love that will endure forever. Forever. The steadfast love of God will endure forever. And the reason God is in our world, and I can say that confidently, is because we belong to Him. This is the promise that Jesus gave us in His Word, and His Word will never die. It will never perish. It will never be destroyed. It will never be overcome. I am with you every day to the very end. I have not left you, I have not forsaken you, and I have not abandoned you, as people abandon orphans. I am with you because you are mine. Our provider, our protector, our guide, our shepherd, our leader, our salvation. Will not leave nor depart us, because we belong to Him. I don't think God can deny the truth. Is that my son? And everyone agreed. That was your son. It was at the cost of Absalom's life. They all received mercy. Kingdom was preserved. The love of David can still be seen. And His mercies, His tender kindness is still enduring today. Because He put His faith, He put His trust into God's promise. Blessed is the man whose transgressions have been forgiven. Blessed are you who have put your trust in the Lord, who have taken refuge in His good name. Blessed are you who desire to show mercy.